Alright, cool. So this will be the last video, and this video will just be the hey. How can you make text pop up when you touch an object? It's pretty simple. We're going to use a component called TextMesh Pro. You are familiar with it. We used it before. We're going to use it again. What we do is we're going to go up to the top here. We're going to go to 3D objects, and then we're going to click TextMesh Pro. And then again, I'm with the game object, 3D object, TextMesh Pro. I'm going to import TMP Essentials if it's not already there. Then we have text that appears right here, right? Awesome. So we have the text that appears here. I'm gonna click it. I'm gonna scale it to be where I want it to be, like so. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do now. We have our text object. I'm gonna say, I want this message to say, hey, Among Us is bad, like that. Cool, that's the message I want to display when we touch this object. Here's what you want to do. We already know that when this player touches this object, it will trigger things to happen. What we need to do is we need to create a link between this text and this the script here, so that Unity knows, hey, whenever this character touches this object, it does something. We have all the pieces together. Now we're just gonna we have all the pieces. Now we're just gonna put everything together. I'm gonna go inside the script, and I'm just gonna first delete this line of code right here. And let's just analyze what's happening here. Again, whenever an object that has a Collider 2D component touches the object the script is attached to, it stores that as a collision. Then we're saying, hey, if the object that touched it has a Collider 2D, and that object is a game object, and it has a tag of player, we will do whatever is inside of here. So we know how that works. Now let's go back to Unity right here. We also know that we want this text to, when you start the game, be invisible. So we don't want it to be visible like this. And we only want it to be visible when we touch that collider, like that. So to make it invisible, it's pretty simple. You just saw me do it. Up at the top right here, this check mark, you just uncheck it, right? But to make it visible, we need to actually get that game object and change it, change the active state of it. So the way we do it is we're going to go back into the code, and we're going to create a reference to this game object right here. So the way I'm going to create a reference is I'm going to make a public variable, a public game object, and I'll call this pop up, like that. So it's made a public variable called pop up, and now we can link this game object right here, the text game object, to this guy right here. So pop up, link it like so. Another thing we can do is inside of here, now that we have a reference to our pop up, we can get that reference and change its active state. So we got the game object. Now we're just gonna say, hey, set active is assigned to true. When we do that and save it, when we run this game, character touches it, and boom, the text pops up like that. Very simple. If you want to change what that text actually says, I'm going to show you that in addition, and that'll be the last thing I show you. To change what the text says, we are going to continue giving that game object, but we're going to change the text. So in order to do that, we need to actually import a new package. The way we do that is at the top here. After the using Unity, we're going to type in using tmpro, like so. Then from that, we will say, hey, we're going to get a link to the TextMesh Pro, and Unity will know how to actually modify that component. So, the reason why we had to do using TextMesh Pro is because this object right here is a TextMesh Pro object, and this component will only work if we import that package in. Now that it's in, we can actually start modifying it pretty easily. What I'm going to do is, I want it to be that, hey, when I touch this object, I want to change its active state to true, and then I also want to get that object, right? I want to go inside that object and I want to get the component. I want to get the TextMesh Pro component. From there, I want to change the text, and I want to say, I don't know, Mario Kart is not good anymore, like that. So what can happen? What I did here is I got the game object, went inside the game object, and I got the TextMesh Pro component, and I changed the text, and the text literally just says Mario Kart is not good anymore. I'm gonna save that and make sure all that stuff works. I'll go back here. I'm gonna make sure I set this back so that it's inactive when I start. Run the program, and boom, it says Mario Kart is not good anymore, like that. Again, all I did to make that work is I got the game object, got the TextMesh Pro component, and changed that text here. Alright, so that's really it when it comes down to it. It's a pretty simple process to make things pop up and also change the text. Use that to your advantage, and I will see you guys in the next video.